Okay, it is Friday the 13th. If you're superstitious, it'll bother you, but it doesn't bother me. It's just another day on the calendar. And it's August the 13th, and it's about 8:04 p.m. 80, I'm used to saying p.m. 8:04 a.m. Uh, Central Standard Time. And welcome to Business Law, known as B234, and I am Professor Richard Wright, and I'll be your instructor for the next 6 weeks, 5.5 weeks to be exact, and all the way up until September the 17th. That's the last day of class for this term two, and then we get a break finally. Well, um, I am a person who uh, originally I was hired by this school to teach business law back in 2011, and it was residentially at that time at the Romeoville campus, and I then gradually I let them know right away that I was a criminal justice professional, even though I practiced law for many years in all areas: entertainment, sports, radio, TV, real estate. I did all areas of the law. And so I began teaching um, the business law aspects of it. They have modified and changed it, of course, and put it online, and they have changed the course up completely. So it's kind of new to me as it is to you, some of the topics, but I'm familiar with them. Um, and the point of the matter is that I'll be able to assist you and guide you in questions or concerns that you have as you move forward to obtain your uh, business degree. And so, anyway, without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Today I'm going to primarily talk about, I'm sharing my screen. I'm going to primarily talk about the things that you need to do to be successful in this course. This lecture will last longer than the normal lectures. Most lectures will last about 1 hour, but this will go a little longer as I go over the systems to make sure that you are up to speed on the things. So the first thing that you see here is the home page, and I'm going to go for right now and do the student preview for just a few minutes so I can show you what it looks like from your end. All right, and it's pretty much the same thing that you see here. You'll see my picture, and also you'll learn some things about me. And one of the things that's really nice about the course is it gives you a roster of everyone in your course. It gives it to me as well as you, and it provides um, your school email. For example, I will use mine as a sample. So if you click on the name, it tells you who your instructor is, and then it tells you my email address and things of that nature. So for each and every one of you, you'll see that same information. You could see uh, if you're looking at this roster that there are 30, actually it's 35 students because they count both of these in there. They got me listed as a student as a preview user. If I was to click on that, you'd see the same information as well. All right. So So each and every one of you, the difference in my email and yours is that you have S-mail onto yours. That's the only difference. And my first name, of course, not my last name. And this is a list of all your classmates. I don't know any of these names because some of these people are pretty new when it comes to this. Um, I see we have with us this morning A.B. Rodriguez. I thank you, by the way, for that message that you sent to me. You understand about how I am and why I am the way I am, and you understand that I know quite a bit about overcoming adversity. So my role will be to help you guys through any adversity that you might have while you're in this class, and I'm pretty good at doing that. So, all right, so let's get into sharing a few things. First thing, let's start with the course tools. You know what the textbook is. You should have that already. If not, I will show you where to find it. All right, so let's take a look at the syllabus. All right, so the syllabus for the course is basically a contract, and it tells you my name and it tells you my office hours. Now, I have unique office hours. If you pay close attention, you'll read between the lines. It says you can call me, text me, or email me any hour of the day except the 25th hour of the day. The 25th hour of the day. If you tell me I tried to reach you the 25th hour of the day, I will wonder how you did that, first of all, since there's only 24 hours in the day. But um, I also remind students that I'm available. Notice the order that I have this in. I like to get calls. If you like to call me, my number is right there in front of you. That comes right to this phone right here in my hand, which is my cell phone. And I have that with me almost everywhere I go. And the texting also, I get my messages on text. So people reach me that way if they really have something urgent, and that's the best way. Emailing me, you can do it, but I will not always see it right away. And sometimes um, if you have an urgent matter, uh, it's not the best way. For some reason or another, I don't know what it is, but students still choose to still do the email. I guess it's because of the habit that students have with most of their professors. So the key thing for me is to be able to call me or text me, and I will respond back to you as soon as I possibly can, um, and be able to answer. Matter of fact, this morning I answered a question already from a student that texted me to ask me a question, and I provided the answer, and they responded right away. They were surprised I answered so quickly. So that's how you can reach me. My email address is here. You'll notice that it has a 2 behind my last name. You don't have to use the 2. If you don't use the 2, it will still come to me. Either way, it comes to me. They have a system set up where it bounces into that one there. But the 2 is what they use for the Blackboard classes, and it comes right into excuse me, to the Blackboard. If you do it without the 2, it will go into my school email or either my Outlook, and it will show up on my school email on my phone as well. And then later on, I'm going to give you my personal email that you'll have. I want to make this announcement right away that this course is controlled by the things that I talk about, the things that are in the module, and most importantly, very importantly for grading purposes, what is in the rubric. Now, everything is not in the rubric, but I lay out at the beginning my expectations about several things. First of all, one of the things I remind you is that when you do your assignments, you conduct research for all papers. You don't just take what's in the textbook. Um, the purpose of it is we want to strengthen your research skills. That also helps you with your critical thinking, and it helps to prepare you because you will become researchers um, on a regular basis in your various fields that you go to work into in the future. Okay, and you will find that you will lose 2 points if the sole source that you cite in your paper is the text itself. I don't want you to lean heavily on the text. You can use it, but you don't lean heavily on it. All written assignments should be in APA format. If you don't know, you'll learn about the APA format. There's tutoring available for it. There's resources available that we'll be sharing in just a few minutes. But this is just a important minor. I call it minor, but it's really major. Is to make sure that with APA that you have citations in the body, appropriate citations in the body of the paper, and appropriate references, APA formatted at the end. In other words, you have a sheet. So then the final thing, it says you'll lose 1 point if you don't provide a cover sheet. Now, I'm not being difficult. I'm just preparing you because the further you go into your education, you're going to recognize that these are requirements that can create the loss of points in your grades, and you don't want that. So your paper should look something like a cover page that you can format with some of the tools that I'll be sharing with you. And then the body of the paper, double spaced, unless you're quoting something. Try not to quote large portions of information. We'll talk about why in a few minutes. And then um, make sure that you pay close attention to the fact that you need an appropriate reference page as well. Just putting the reference in there, continuing on the paper, is not adequate. It should be properly formatted on a separate page. All written assignments should be, unless otherwise specified, but all written assignments, unless specified, should be using Word, using Word. And you have access to Word in at the beginning of school. The school provided your free office setup that consists of Word and consists of PowerPoints, and I think Publisher as well. You won't use Publisher, but anyway, you'll use PowerPoints, of course, to see the PowerPoints that I sent you. Each week I will send you PowerPoints for your study purposes to help you um, to understand the material. All right. Excuse me again. All right. So let's get into this. Here is the textbook, um, Business Law Today, the Essentials. You should have it there. I have it downloaded, but I also have on my phone an app called Bookshelf. And in it, I have all of my textbooks that I use. And it provides me with the sources. You can see it right here on my phone. You can do that on your tablet as well as you can have it on your computer. The good thing about having ebooks is that you can do all kinds of things with them, and they're not as heavy as the actual book. Trust me, I know. When I was in college in law school. Came out of law school in '78. There was no technology around. We used books, and those things were heavy, especially law books. Okay, so this is the ebook, and then as I said, I provided, in addition to what you have already, your PowerPoints to go with that. And each week I will do that. All right, so letting you know how things work. We'll talk about this a little later. I do want to talk about discussion posts. Each week you will have discussion posts, which is changing every week. I do want to remind you that I want critical thinking, I want analysis in your discussion posts. I want you to make sure that you demonstrate that you didn't just shoot from the hip. Um, Therefore, um, your post should be, as it says, thoughtful and detailed. Um, yes, no, I agree or I disagree is not sufficient. So you can do that, but you have to make sure that you have another post that's more in detailed as well. And the point of the matter is that the discussion posts take the place of being physically in the class and supplement the lectures themselves, because a lot of dialogue don't happen between professor and students in the lectures. Why? Because of the attendance. You see how many students are in the class registered, and you see how many students come to the lectures. I do encourage students to come to the lectures whenever possible. This Friday morning lecture is abnormal. Um, you'll see the actual schedule um, coming up in a few minutes as to when the lectures are after today. And you will find that anyway. So for discussion posts, each week, initial posts, I'll just say for this week, they're due tomorrow, both of them, initial and reply posts. You'll find that in the announcement, you'll find that in the calendar, and you see it actually right here in front of you, your initial posts and reply posts for term 2 are Saturday. It says midnight, but it means 11:59 p.m. and it should be Central Standard, by the way. I don't know what zone, because I have students all over the country. And then when we get to week 2 through 5, your initial posts are due actually on Tuesdays at midnight. And actually it can say 2 through 6, because that's actually the case, because well, no, that's not true. That's not true. Um, your initial posts are due on Tuesdays, even during the final week, but you can't submit them after the last day of class. Okay, so your reply posts are due on Saturdays, and then except the final week. The final week of class, reply posts are due by that Friday. You'll see that coming up as well. So you'll understand this. This is sometimes a little confusing, but I'll clarify that on the calendar. Now, I will say this so I can get this out of the way. If you submit a discussion post on Sunday, it will be a 0. It'll be a 0, a big 0. And the reason why it'd be a big 0 is because of the fact that the discussion forum ends on Saturday night, and assignments are due that next day, that Sunday. And then that following Friday, I will have graded your assignments that you submit to me. So I will tell you this. In the normal course, with your initial post being due Tuesday starting next week, and your reply post due Saturdays, that if you submit your reply post on an initial post on Saturdays, you will lose points 1 point each day that it's late for the initial post, and then your reply post will be on time. And if it's good quality, you will get minus points for the initial post and the regular points for the reply post. If you submit your initial post by Saturday and your reply post by Sunday, listen to this carefully, you will be given what I call a mulligan. If you play golf, you know what I'm talking about. I give you extra space. I do this in all of my classes, but you will lose a point. So in other words, let's say you end up getting your reply post in the day after the initial post, um, the day after the forum end, which is Sunday. Then you will get points minus 1 point, assuming that everything else is good in there. I do not require citations and references, even though those are nice. It's a good habit to have in terms of it being able. And I notice that students sometimes will use the textbook. Well, try not to use the textbook again. I encourage you, get into the habit of minimized use of the textbook for written assignments. And I didn't say don't use it, I said minimize it. All right. So anyway, so if your discussion post and reply posts are submitted that Sunday, it's not going to happen. You'll get a big, big zero. All right. Now for this week, because of the short start, I usually will give a little break up until Monday. But after that, I won't do it. I won't do that. So be aware of that. However, though, I do encourage you, don't, you know, oh, he said we have until Monday. I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I said follow the deadlines. Follow the deadlines. And it's very, very, very important. All right. Now, I can extend a lot of things, but I can't extend discussion points to the next week. The reason is because that's like coming to class if you were in the physical classroom and talking about what you missed the week before. You might get a little brief synopsis of it, but we're not going to spend time on that. And so in this case, in our lectures, I don't do that. I don't go back to the discussion posts from the previous weeks. All right, so because we're on new stuff. Students are even focusing on it. We'll talk about the resources tab, library resources tab in just a few minutes. This course will consist of readings, which is from your textbook, and then you got your PowerPoints and your modules, discussion assignments, which I just referred to, and then written assignments. Okay, and you're going to have those three things. Now, one thing you will note right away about this course, and you'll see the breakdown in the grading criteria. It consists of discussions, excuse me, and written assignments, and the live lectures. Excuse me for clearing my throat here, but it's like that. But you get to my age. I'm 71 years old. People don't believe I'm that old, but I am. But I'm in excellent health. Little bit on the pudgy side, but I'm working on that as well. So anyway, it's not a lot of stuff to do here. Be aware of one thing that's missing that you might find in a lot of your classes. What do you think? What do you see that's missing that you see in a lot of classes? You can type in the chat box if you have an idea of what is missing. I'll give you a minute or so to see, and I'll see it if you type it in the chat box. What's missing? Okay, I don't see any response. Tests or quizzes. This course, you don't have any of those things. Um, I wish they did have quizzes, at least practice quizzes, so you can use the material. But you'll see there are some things that will help you in that area. So you want to pay close attention to that. So yeah, quizzes are good. But in this course, it's writing. You'll discover that once you're in college, that writing is a lot. I know I went to law school and we did a lot of writing. I mean, reading and writing. We had exams, but we focused on reading and writing. And then your live classroom lectures, for which you get 5 points for giving the key phrase that I give you, for a total of 450 points. Now, let me share this with you. The grading scale in this class goes from A to F. The right side of the grading scale, I don't even think about it, and don't even ask me about it. I don't operate on the basis of the right side of the scale or the last one on the left side of the scale. I operate on producing Dean's List and honor roll students. A to A minus is Dean's List. B plus to B minus is honor roll. Why do you do that? Why do you ignore the average student? The reason why is because I don't ignore you. I tell you how to get A's and B's. You do the work, you do it on time, you follow the rubrics, and you ask questions if you have any. Do not hesitate. You already know the parameters about communicating with me. And like I said again, it is you try it, you'll see what I'm talking about. It means what it says. But the reason why I do that is because I believe in excellence. I believe that what we need are excellent professionals. You're going to find that I like to teach, and I say this a lot, and I teach educated, professional, and ethical individuals. And we'll talk about that in a little bit as well when we get to the ethics part, especially. But when you go for interviews, uh, sometimes they don't ask your GPA, but what you have developed by becoming A students and B students is the ability to advance. I was a C student, I'm gonna be honest, early on in my college career. Um, Things were a lot different then, but then I quickly realized, boom, uh, I need to get moving. And after that, I was on the honor roll and dean's list every time they came out, even though I worked. You listen to my video, you know what I'm talking about. AB knows what I'm talking about because he shared that with me, and I thank him again for that. But I invite each and every one of you students to take a look at that as well. All right, so having said that, don't don't be offended if I don't tell you how to get a C in my class. I'm not going to do that. If you have accommodations, I will know about that because you'll provide me with the details that you've worked out with your academic dean, who generally is your uh, campus accommodations coordinator, and they let you know, and we do certain things to help you. In this case, more time for tests, which we don't have any, but you'd have more time to submit assignments, including discussion posts outside of what I said earlier. And we do that because of the Aid to Disabilities Act, ADA. We comply with that. We don't want to discriminate against people based on any disability that you may have. Now I want to talk about something that we call transferable skills. Employers have let us know that there are certain skills they want you to attain, and when they hire you, they want you to be proficient in these areas. Therefore, your assignments are all geared towards the transferable skills. You can identify them And just if you sit back and think about what they are and see how they apply. And they're not in a necessary order, but they're all important. You probably wouldn't be very well prepared without having all of these. Communication. Communication, written and oral communication. It is so critical that you have good communication. And individuals communicate in various ways. And if you're hearing impaired, there's a way that you communicate. If you're visually impaired, there's a way you communicate. But most people, the written and oral communication is so important. I'm a professional communicator. I've done radio, I've done television, and then I'm also a pastor, as you know, and that I have been a professor. I've taught high school, grammar school as well. I've done presentations across the country at various schools to talk to students about success in life. So communication is so important. Notice how I'm able to communicate, even if there's nobody on the record on the in the lecture. I can still give a lecture without a person being there. It wouldn't make sense to do it if it was physically in the classroom and nobody shows up. I wouldn't do it. But because we have recordings, then students, because of various reasons, may not make it to the live lectures. Though I encourage, you will fare off um, better. So communication. A point I want to bring to you about written communication is that all, if not some of your documents, emails, text messages, um, reports that you do uh, are all subject to being used as court exhibits. And I, as a lawyer, have used in both criminal as well as in other areas of the law, um, utilize those documents to make points by pointing out that individuals who prepare them may not be very professional. They should be accurate, professional, grammatically, and all of those things. I use things like if you have lowercase I in the paper anywhere, I use that against you. Um, I remember winning a case, and this was a criminal case, but you get my point, is that they said that something happened, that my client did something on the 31st of April. So let's say, for example, if you wrote a contract and it said that uh, something would take place the 31st of April. Well, first of all, number one, there is no 31st of April. And I use what I learned as a kid to remind me of that. My grandmother taught me a poem, and I used it in court. And it says, 30 days has September, April. 30 days had September, April, June, and November. All the rest have 31 except the month of February. And I always remembered that. And I have a gift that God gave me called a photographic memory, but I never forgot that poem from the time I was a kid, you know. And so I use that, and I actually won a case with that. So communication is important. You must be professional in it. Critical thinking. Analyze the material. Apply it, thoughts to it. Take the processes and make it your own. Give your thoughts. You can agree or disagree, but if you do elaborate on why, don't just say I disagree and stop. No. Or if something you want to respond to differently from what even that you discovered um, from your research, then find sources or good reasons why it could be changed or should be differently presented. So critical thinking. I'm a natural critical thinker because I went to this law school. You can see it. If you can't, there it is right there, Northwestern on my t-shirt. And the point of the matter is that um, I naturally learned under what we call the Socratic method, which is based on Socrates. And so, series of questions, and we get answers. If you saw movies like Legally Blonde, if you saw My Cousin Vinny, if you saw, I can't think of the name of the civil case with Paul Newman in it, but um, it was, there's a lot of movies out there about law and how it works with critical thinking and the Socratic method. Digital fluency. Everything's digital. As I already referred to the books. This thing here, the cell phone, is something that is a digital computer that you have right there. You guys do a lot of texting. Um, uh, I, I I don't like texting. I do it sometimes, but texting, emailing, all kinds of things. You use digital books, as we've referred to this course already. You also use word processes in Office. You use Adobe PDF, which, by the way, never use that for your written assignments unless I tell you. I, we don't have that though. And there's a reason why we go with Word documents. I can edit them. I can run them through Grammarly, which I will talk about in a few minutes. But digital fluency, we're in a society where you must be able to be um, possess the ability to be able to do this digitally. Very important. Use everything digital, even in the grocery store, paying bills these days. Everything is digital. Um, I love that I can be sitting right here in Plainfield, Illinois, and talking to students all over the country. And I do it in different time zones, all over the world, actually. I've had a few foreign students. And so digital fluency makes all that possible. Diversity and teamwork. You will discover that this country is full of people from all parts of the world, diverse. I was looking at an article that was demonstrating the fact that diversity is the order of the day, and that some people don't like that, but it is. And that as a result of that, some people don't recognize and realize that minorities are growing in such tremendous numbers. That's why some of the things that are happening politically in this country, which I won't elaborate on, but you know what I'm talking about, are out there. And such as trying to stop uh, our movement on immigration, and then picking out certain groups of people, Hispanics and individuals that are from Muslim countries. And the, I thought that this country represented people coming to um, get good opportunities. But uh, there's some false information out here about diversity being bad. Well, diversity's been around as long as I know of, and that the country consists of people from all over the world who speak different languages, have different cultures, have different religious beliefs. I'm a Christian, and there are people who are Catholics. I know I have people who are um, Jewish people who worship in the synagogue, which I've been there before. I have friends. I was raised up, and if you look at my history, in a big Jewish law firm. First African American attorney in that law firm, working my way up from the story that you read or listened to on Adversity is a Springboard to Success. So the point of the matter is that in your work, you're going to work with people from various cultures. And it's an opportunity for you to learn about each other. Don't be afraid of somebody um, just because they do it differently. Don't criticize them, respect them. We have in this school a movement towards that we have what we call Diversity and Inclusion Council, of which some students are invited to participate in. But I am a member. I've been a member for several years. Have not really been that active this year because of some things that are going on uh, health-wise with one of the members of my family. But the point of the matter is this, is that diversity is here to stay. We are a melting pot. Teamwork. You're going to work with people from all areas. I've worked with forensic people. I've worked with medical people. I've worked with um, lawyers, criminal as well as civil lawyers. I've worked with hearing officers. I've worked with all kinds of people from various fields. Medical people, very important, especially in this day and time, dealing with things of that nature. And then in this class, the teamwork pretty much is done through the discussion forum where you collaborate with each other. Ethics and professional responsibility. Ethics is so important. Ethics, you can get in trouble, you can be heading toward the wrong direction, you could end up losing your job or end up in jail. I taught ethics in business for several years. I taught ethics in medical law and ethics in criminal justice. So I believe in ethics. Well, being a pastor, I operate on that basis. Some people say, well, just because you're a pastor. Well, no, I'm a believing pastor who believe in the truth and fairness and treating people right. Anyway, ethics. Um, you should learn that starting at home. There's a course that you take here, but the point of the matter is that your foundation is laid at home as you grow up. Or you can be in a home where you can see there are no ethics and you learn to go in a different direction. I know there were ethics errors in my coming up as a kid that I saw and learned, but I was able to make it through that. And I decided to go the right way, not no pun intended, but to go the correct way and to operate on ethics. By the way, your career will be long and successful if you are ethical. As I say to students, an unethical student results in an unethical professional, and you have problems. And actually, unethical and professional are it's an oxymoron, because professional means following the processes and procedures. You will see in a few minutes a video dealing with academic integrity, which is in the ethics field, and I will share that with you, and it'll be there for you all term to see as well. Um, Professional responsibility. Um, Many of you are heading toward careers in business like accountants or whatever areas you're heading towards. There's organizations that operate. We as lawyers had a canon of ethics to apply. Doctors have them, secretaries have them, paralegals have them. All areas have them. Um, and I remember I was a sports agent for a while, representative. I was involved with an association that helped me with continuing education, but also there are certain uh, expectations, standards, that's the word I'll use, that you operated under. Information literacy, being able to research, being able to come up with information that is what we call credible, not incredible. One source. that we tell students never to use, and that is Wikipedia. If you use Wikipedia, you will lose big points. The reason is it's not a credible source. It is a word-based system and can be changed by anyone. And it's not, man, people say, well, there's some good stuff in there. Well, like I said again, you can use it. I use it for entertainment. I use it for quickly looking at something. However, though, I have seen instances where there's incorrect information in there that someone purposely put in there and then left it for the next person to see, and they relied on it. So information literacy. So all of these you see here in the last sentence, you'll have an opportunity to demonstrate in these courses. Again, we're preparing you for your future careers. Attendance policy, I won't go over that. The late assignment policy, I've already taken care of the discussion part of it, but let's talk about the written assignment portion of it, and make sure you get that. You have up to 7 days after the due date to turn in your papers. However, each day that they're late, 10% comes off. Okay? And don't get comfortable with those 7 days, because here's what happens. Hypothetically, if you have a paper that's really good on Sunday and it's due, you could end up with 100. That very same paper turned in on Monday will put you in a position of getting a 90. On Tuesday, 80. On Wednesday, a 70. By Thursday, 4 days later, you've lost 40 points. So you can get a 60. Let me show you something. See what happens here? You're at D minus. And the next day, 5 days later, you're at F. So you see what I'm talking about. So you don't want to be in that position. All right, now there is an out, and it says in the third paragraph here, instructors may waive the late penalty or time frame in the case of, key phrase, extenuating circumstances. And who determines that? Not your dean, not your advisor, not the chairman of the board, not you, but I determine that. I'm very liberal with dealing with it. And I take it on a case-by-case basis. But if you're having extenuating circumstances, just because you turn in your assignments late, I don't know if there are extenuating circumstances. How do I know it? I already told you. My door is open. My line of communication is open. Use it. Use it. I have people that reach out to me on Sundays, and I preach on Sundays as a pastor. But I still accommodate students before church and after church. I'll be out with my family and I'll take a few minutes. My wife understands that I'm on call to help my students, and I do. And oftentimes we'll get into a lengthy discussion, because I believe in not just giving knowledge, but wisdom as well to help you, because it'll take you a long ways. So anyway, I don't know, and I'm not going to ask you why you didn't do it. You're adults. You got to be able to let me know, and then we'll go from there. All right. Incomplete grade policy, you can read that yourself. And then the academic integrity policy. Take time to read it, abide by it, and you will stay out of trouble. If you have any questions about the academic integrity policy, reach out to me. your advisor, or your dean, and we'll be happy to discuss it with you. So that's the syllabus. All right. So now I want to go to the, okay, you'll have messages here. If you check for messages, let's go back to the regular. I want to do from this point on the regular one. I don't want to do it in student mode anymore. Okay, so I'm no longer in student mode. So messages, and in here you'll see where students have sent me messages and let me know that they got the information. And not all messages show up now once I respond to them. Here's where I thanked AB for the words that I mentioned earlier. And then here's a student who let me know they saw the email. That was a couple of days ago. All right. And then it tells you the emails I sent you with the PowerPoints. If you were to click on, you should have received that. And if you download them, you'll have them for each week there as well. Your grade book, which has rubrics in it, we'll talk about that, and it tells each week's assignments. And I noticed that so far no one has done the written assignment, which is fine. We just started 2 days ago. And you don't have anything here because I haven't given it to you yet. When you come to the live lecture, you have an advantage. You can do it right after the lecture and put it in there and get that thing out of the way. Then you just have these two to deal with here. All right, so we're going to talk about both of these in just a few minutes, a little bit. All right, so your grade book. Then you got your discussions each week. You have, okay, you have a student lounge where you communicate with each other. If you click on that, and it's visible to students. I can see it too, but this is where you have communicating about yourself to each other. I encourage you to do that, to share information so that your classmates will see that. They used to have us as professors, but you scroll all the way down to the bottom of that and you see course chat. If you do course chat, that's where let's see, it's supposed to come open. There it goes. There we go. And you see my response, and it tells you about me, a little bit about me. It shows you a picture of me and my part of my family. These are my 4 youngest kids. That's Richard Jr. And then there's Julian. These 2 fellows are 5 years apart. He's the oldest, and 6'2". Well, actually now he's 6'3". He's passed him a size 13 shoe, so he stands on a good foundation there. And then there's my wife Julia, and then there's me, and that's my daughter Julia. And then this one here is Jillian. She's bigger now. This is an older picture. She's 13 now. All right, and then I have others from previously when I was married. This person and I been married 27 years and enjoying life together, handling our challenges together. This tells you a little bit about me. It shows something that I use to motivate my students. This is actually at that time I was 28 years old. I got my law degree from Northwestern University. A tough thing, but I got it, and I share that in my story. And then here is a mnemonic that I came up with that I use, that I had copywritten, and I use it to help people. Each letter in the word lawyers stands for something that you should be able to do and apply it. And I encourage, and it develops you success. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free to contact me. Again, I don't just say it, I mean it. Here is my email address you see without the two. And then here is my personal email address. It's always there for you. If you don't remember it, you can send it to me and I'll get it. This is the phone number to call, the text, you know that already. This is my office number, which I'm never really there. If I'm there very briefly, I'm there. In fact, they took my phone out because I don't use it, but I still have the extension. If you dial it, it will still ring there. But what it will do is it will send me a text message telling me that I need to have a voicemail, and I can go back and listen to it and get it. But don't rely on that. Rely on this. All right. And that's the course chat. So now each week you have your discussions that you have. And this actually shows who has responded and shows you that I've submitted one response. I'm going to submit another response today. And these are individuals and their posts. I'm not putting anything out there that you can't see, which, by the way, until you post first, and it tells you that the activity is hidden until you post a response. Okay, when you open it up, because there are students, hey, there's nothing there, and so they go on. You got to post and follow the requirements or the directions for each post each week. All right. And the due dates, you already know. We talked about that. We're going to go over the course calendar. We've already checked going over the course syllabus. And then these are students who have said things, and it shows how many replies. Here's one reply to Catherine, Scott, Rebecca. And so anyway, you have until 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time tonight to get that in. All right. Very, very, very important. All right. So you're dealing this week with the global economy. And it talks about some of the things I've already said already. Because we have technology, um, there's um, international law, international uh, regulations exist because, as I said in my response to one student, you read this article and then you ask what are your impressions of the topics that are addressed. Do you expect worldwide business practice to change or develop in the upcoming years? I love to see those answers there. And then your reply post. Consider new regulations or laws that may be necessary. Notice, like I said, people are operating abroad. Almost every business now operates abroad. Either physically they go there, or either they do it through the um, online mode. So that's your discussion assignment. Uh, so I won't have to elaborate on that in a minute. All right, I keep going out of that. You got to get into the habit of when if I leave here, rather than to close it out, just go over here and it puts me right back. I'm still under the old mode. All right, so now let's take a look and go across at your course calendar. This is where you have the ability to find things. Now, it tells you each day, like right now, it tells you what's happening here today. It's about 9:04, but it tells you that I've been, let's see, should be in here. I thought it was in here. Where is it? Okay, let's go to the month. I don't know why it's not showing up. Oh, okay, because the lecture, oh, it's over here. It should be over here. Let me fix that. Let me change that. That's the discussions. Yeah, it's actually today. Students should be able to see that though from the messages that I sent. This should be the 13th. And okay, 13th. Let's save that. Okay, which may or may not be, because I mean, if you read the announcements, it tells you that. Okay, so anyway, so now let's go back to the 13th, and now you should see, there we go. And you have the hyperlink right there that I won't click on it because it will bring us right to where we are right now. So looking at the daily schedule, I like the monthly schedule. You can see that the course began on the 11th. You see that the lecture is this morning and that the initial posts and reply posts are due tomorrow. Your assignments are due Sunday the 15th. Now, starting next week, lectures will take place in the evening, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard. All right. And each Monday until we get to the last week. Notice your schedule starting next week. Your initial posts, you see, will be due on Tuesdays. And then, of course, your reply posts. And then, same thing here. You go all the way through till you get to September. Notice this. Your last lecture is the 13th. Your class ends the 17th, not the 18th and not the 19th. That's the final day of class. And that's where the information is there. So I know what happened with that live lecture setup, even though people should realize that the announcement has the information in it. All right, so let's go back and let's look at the announcements. Okay, we got about a half an hour more to go. And so each week there will be an announcement, but I put some initial announcements in here. This one is something that A.B. Rodriguez has taken advantage of, this video. And here is the link, which is a YouTube, which you'll find that's where your recordings will be anyway. And it tells you this one right here, dismiss that, that it's an hour and 3 minutes. And it tells you about some things dealing with adversity. And I think I have it set up where it's closed caption. Anyway, you can see it on your own, and you can learn a lot about me in terms of adversity. Why you'll see in your announcements, adversity is a springboard to success. I do encourage you to look at that on your own time. Academic integrity video. I want to take a few minutes and share this video with you. That gentleman is Dean Malatic of the Learning Center. And I'm going to take off my headset. I have it closed caption, so if you can't hear it, you can go back and look at it on your own. But you can also, okay, English. There we go. So I'm going to unplug my headphones for a few minutes and pay attention to.
What is academic integrity? Academic integrity is making decisions in your academic life that are based on honesty, trust, fairness, responsibility, and respect. This means being honest in the work you do while respecting the work that others do. So, what is cheating? Cheating means distributing or receiving answers or information by any means other than those expressly permitted by an assignment's requirements or an instructor. Some examples of cheating include asking fellow students for answers or copying answers during a test, using notes, devices, or materials during the test that your instructor has not approved, purchasing papers from websites or other sources, copying your classmates' work, assisting a classmate in misconduct, and other violations as noted in the academic integrity policy that can be found in all course syllabi. Always ask your professor if it's okay to use notes during a test or to work together with classmates on an assignment or quiz. Now let's talk about plagiarism. Plagiarism means using another individual's work without giving them credit or taking another person's work and claiming it as your work. Some examples of plagiarism are turning in an assignment that someone else wrote, copying words or ideas from someone else. This can be a library resource, course textbook, internet resource, or other material without giving the original creator credit. Failing to put quoted works in quotation marks, or using someone else's ideas in your essays, but changing a few of the words to make it sound like the words are your own. Plagiarism is not just about written words and ideas. It's possible to plagiarize images, graphs, coding, or video as well. So how can you avoid plagiarism? Cite your sources, both in the body of your paper as in-text citations and on your references page. Whenever you want to use words, images, media, or ideas that were created by another person, you should cite that person appropriately as the source of that information.
But how does academic integrity relate to the work world? Isn't it just a college thing?
No. Integrity in the workplace starts with good practices and skills built while you are a student. Would you turn in a project document to your manager as your own when someone else wrote it? Not if you want to keep your job. Individuals can be reprimanded or even fired from their job for plagiarism. Following academic integrity guidelines while you are in school builds those skills and ethical practices that carry through to the workforce.
Okay, I understand how they're connected, but what do I do if I need more help?
If you have questions on the academic integrity policy, consult your course syllabus, talk with your instructor or dean, and if you need assistance with APA citation style or how to avoid plagiarism, contact the Rasmussen library team through our live chat or schedule a research appointment on our library website or through the resources tab of your course. If you would like APA tutoring, schedule an appointment with one of our peer tutors on the course resources tab.
Okay, so now you see what academic integrity. Let's close that out. And that video is available to you as well. Okay. Let's look at APA assistance. APA assistance. There is the link there, and if you click on that, it actually opens up and it takes you to the tools, helps you to learn a lot about APA, the 7th edition that you might want to learn about. Okay. Library and Learning Center. There is also a guide here for each school of discipline. There's the School of Business, and if you click on this, and it tells you about different things that can help you to be successful, including webinars in all areas, accounting, finance, healthcare, human resources, marketing, supply chain, and management. And this lets you know about the database and information here as well, how to chat with a librarian as well. Okay. So this is there to help you with APA. And then here's the writing process as well, and the writing process that's involved here. All right, this is the welcome announcement, which each of you have seen already, and it tells you the steps and it reminds you of when the lecture. See, again, even though the calendar was off, the announcement told you the time and everything, and it reminds you of what I said, that starting Monday of next week, 8:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m., we will have lectures. Down at the bottom here is where you could find technical help. They're 24/7. I would recommend keeping this number in your phone, as I do, to use it. They do offer a email way to do it, but I refer that you reach out to them because they can help you, and sometimes they can take control of your computer and fix issues. So the welcome announcement there, which you all should be familiar with. And then your week 1 announcement showing the assignments for this week. Foundations of Business Law. That's what this week is all about. Chapters 1 to 3 of your textbook and the PowerPoints. Introduction to Business Law Activities, Regulations, the Court System, the Court Activities, and then there's some practice flashcards. And then it tells you about, again, the schedule for the live lecture. And here's the link again that you click on to get to the lecture. Then the discussion assignment, which we talked about, and then the written assignment. Pay close attention to rubrics as well. Then it reminds you about the open house that's taking place. Again, here's the link as well. So I encourage you to start strong and finish strong. And then my motto, adversity springboard success, I already told you where you can find that detail there. So each week you will see an announcement that gives you what for the week. Make sure you pay close attention to those announcements. Now, before I get into wrapping up here with the modules itself, I do want to take time to show you your resources. Here are your resources. You can learn about research, APA guide, as I demonstrated to you earlier, information, Grammarly. Each of you have a Grammarly account. And again, I run your papers through Grammarly. Check the plagiarism box, because if you're over 25%, you're going to get hit by losing 25% of the grade, or whatever that number is that shows up in my Grammarly percentage. All right. And it tells you how to set it up. Your Noodle tools help you to set up your cover page and format. And the writing guide, I already shared that with you. And then guides by subject. And then you have the webinar. And then you have the academic integrity video here, again, that we just saw. And then tells you how to communicate with your librarian. That's Kate Anderson, is your librarian in business. And you can select this person and set up an appointment to visit with a librarian. We do have student tutors who can help you if you need help there. Do not hesitate to reach out to them, because they will be here to help you as well. Okay, So that's what I want to show you on the resources. So now let's get into, as we conclude, with module 1, which shows you first the overview, of what we intend to accomplish, reading the textbook. These are the activities that I just talked about a few minutes ago, and the assignments that I have talked about a few minutes ago. I'm going to show you the rubrics in just a minute for the written assignment. Okay, let's go back. All right, so we've already done the discussion post, and then you have your live lecture, which I'm going to give you a phrase, and you can put it in, and then hit submit, and then I will have it there. Okay. Now, here is your written assignment using this scenario. Now, you see what it says? It says PowerPoint. Remember I spent time saying Word. In the business course, PowerPoint is used in some of the classes, assignments. You can use that based on that. If the instructions call for it, then you will do it, okay? But make sure that you follow these steps, all right? Because I'm going to be grading based on that. Make sure you have sources to support your PowerPoints. If you have questions, schedule an appointment with the librarian. Fast Case is there for cases that you need to research, articles and ebooks, and then the writing guide. But make sure you also have a cover page as well, separate. So save your assignment for this week in PowerPoint. You will see in future weeks it might be a little different. Okay, there is the rubric, and here it is right here. Getting ready to share that with you. All right, it says there are 4 columns. I would tell my students to get into the habit of forgetting that these even exist. Now, they got mastery, expectations all the way across. It's funny because they're not really mastery, but this is mastery. The first column is the one you want to focus on, getting 100%. Thorough introduction with the overview of business and purpose of presentation. Source of law. Be sure you cite, if it's a case, cite the official court case. Okay. Associated business laws. Okay. Make sure you cite them properly. And then the safeguards to ensure that the law is, and then the proper formatting. In-text citations, remember I said that, included properly. All right. So again, it's a PowerPoint for this week. All right. Any questions? Feel free to reach out to me concerning that. It's pretty self-explanatory. All right. I will not have my computer with me this weekend until Sunday, but because I'll be away tomorrow. But I want to make sure that you have this information, but you can still reach me through text and email. I mean, text and phone call. All right. Now, your live classroom recordings, as you can see here, again, this is the link to get to where we are now. After I finish this, I'm going to change this over and put in the actual link to the recording, and I will email that information to you as well. Okay, it'll be through the YouTube system, so you can use that on any system. So these are the topics that I would cover today. Introduction to business law. You can read this. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Notice how the cases are cited, okay? And you should be able to follow that. But here's the deal. It's the name of the case. This tells you the volume. This tells you where the publication is, which is called Southwestern, second edition, at 720. That's the start of it. So it's in this volume at page 720, and it's from Texas. This is the Texas Supreme Court, probably 1986. Then there's administrative law dealing with the SEC and the FTC. And then it tells you primary sources of law. Primary sources of law are the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the state constitution, the statutes, and then the cases that are decided that judges make, administrative rulings, executive order, and then their treaties, since we're dealing with international. Secondary sources are, these are things like encyclopedias for a law review articles, various journals, codes that are, you'll find what we call the UCC. You're going to learn about that, Uniform Code, and treatises. These are publications that are written by authors, and then this is references to that. All right. That's where you find your sources of law. You have various regulations depending on the area that you're dealing with: age discrimination, sex discrimination, disability discrimination. I referred to that earlier. Labor laws and things of that nature. You have OSHA, Occupational Safety and Health Act, which deals with the workplace. And then you have the Fair Labor Standards Act. And then there's also a Family Law Act. But you have the EEOC, deals with matters involving Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 64. You have the Age Discrimination Act of 67, and then the ADA that I was talking about earlier in 1990, and other areas. So these are just some of the regulations. The court system operates like this. It's very simply, people file suits, and many civil cases are settled. Most of them are settled. I worked in a big corporate law firm, and most of our cases after suits were filed, we settled. 2%, less than 2% of civil cases that are filed end up through trials. Many are settled because of the long drawn out cost, discovery, when you go through what we call depositions, interrogatories, and things of that nature. You don't really have to worry about getting into that. But anyway, the court system is the last resort, okay? And then this is just the activity here. Go down here, open up, there he goes. And it tells about the court system, and then it explains dealing with pleadings that are filed, documents like to start a case. Discovery, this is receiving information. You can click on these. And then interrogatories and so forth, depositions. I mentioned that for you a few minutes ago. Let's go back to that. And then trial, as I said, this is picking a jury, cross-examination, jury deliberations. There's opening statements by both sides, the parties rest, closing arguments, verdicts, direct testimony, jury instructions, and judgment. Again, you won't have to worry too much about that because, as I said, small point. Post-trial, motion for a new trial. That's pretty much it. Or the losing party can ask for a new trial. Okay. And then there's the appeal process, which you filed a notice of appeal. There are oral arguments and briefs and a decision, and it goes all the way up to the Supreme Court, so forth. And that's the court system. Just going over that a little bit. We're over our time. And then finally, these are flashcards for you to help you to go back and study. And this is self-assessment. You click on these, and then it tells you an intentional tort. Click the card to see the other side. All right. So these torts that arise out of voluntary acts, including but not limited to assault, battery, false imprisonment, trespass, defamation, and invasion of privacy. Okay. All right. So then you can keep going and you can look at these. Okay, this is supposed to go back to the, oh, I know. I don't know. They kind of got this kind of wacky. So flashcards. Let's see. Oh, okay. Administrative law. And then you go and determine what that is. And you can flip it over to see the answer. So you go through these, and these are for your information just to review. Well, that's it for the day. I hope that you got a clear understanding about what the topics and things are that are involved here. And so, are there any questions? Any questions? You can type in the chat box if there are any questions. Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you. I hope you do see that video. Um, each week I will go over the topics more in detail, but today the key was to go over the parameters of the course to get you ready so you'll be successful. So again, thank you for hanging out with me this morning, AB, and I look forward to seeing you. Remember, Monday, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time is that. So now I'm going to give you a key phrase that you need to give me back, and you can put it in the Dropbox and actually, oh, thank you. The key phrase is, I usually start out pretty light, business law. That's it. It's easy as that. Just give me that in the place that you know is supposed to go in the Dropbox, and you'll get your points. Make sure you do it before Sunday, but usually I tell students that are in the class, do it right away, and then you'll get your first grade. Okay. All right. Well, enjoy your weekend. Stay safe. I will say this. I will be remiss if I don't. Take care of yourself, your mental health, your physical health, your emotional health. And then this is not a political statement. This is a statement of health. I am 71. I got 2 shots. I got my shots. Took the Moderna. Get your shots, because this new thing, this variant, is serious. It is not playing. It's taking people out left and right. And then I pray that pretty soon our younger children will be able to get the shots. Everybody in my house have done it. My 13-year-old daughter got hers for the Pfizer. It's so important. And I still wear my mask now because of the variant. And the reason why is because this is to protect others, not me, because I've already been protected by getting the shots. But the point of the matter is that there's coming along the possibility of boosters. Don't be surprised at that. Every vaccine that we've ever had in history of the world, starting from the first one I ever had in my life, which was polio vaccine when I was a kid to prevent polio. We got our polio shots. There have been boosters, flu shots. There's boosters. I got all kinds of shots that I take to take care of my body. This 71-year-old man does not look 71-year-old, but I can tell you this, I feel pretty good. Take care of yourself, young people. Take care of yourself. It's so important. Take care of your family and your responsibilities. And of course, if you have issues, you know what to do. So I'll see you on Monday night at 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Okay, enjoy the rest of your day and weekend. All right.